Let me address at the beginning the catastrophic circumstances of a lot of people, households, farmers in the last days and week here in north and middle Italy, caused by these terrible floods. Some of those were still visible when we traveled from Bologna here to Avoca. Tragic times. I think all of you, all of us have seen those terrible situations in your regions where you come from, or in families, enterprises to whom you are connected. And we all know that this kind of events will be much more often in future. The question we have to ask ourselves is, what is the right way to create a frame, an environment? One solution to all these events we will face in future much more are living soils. So are at the beginning of what we know is the root of organic agriculture and food production. So it's not the question of guiltiness or responsibility, it's the question how we can prevent a lifestyle and an economy in balance with our environment, with other creatures, with nature and ecosystems. And that's what IFOAM Organics Europe is about, our network of entrepreneurs, of farmers, of citizens, of policymakers, of researchers. We are the network, the umbrella in Europe to connect all people, all enterprises, all farmers, to create this environment who are asking the right questions, holistic, systemic questions, how we can change our system of economy and our system of producing food and living in balance with soils, biodiversity on our farms. We want to reach this through influencing especially the European Union policy-making process. And there are a lot of dossiers, discussions, policy making is happening right now. And what we want to discuss during this event, question of green claims, of sustainable food systems, how to label a food production which is really sustainable and not greenwashing trial from big industry. Crossroad of many decisions which are without real returns. If we, for example, decide in Europe to introduce as one of the main technological answers, change our ways of breeding plants and animals on a very technical focus with genome editing, the way out of our self-made dilemma is technology, is genome editing. But that's the narrative many politicians, many scientists, and many people in the financial industry believe. We decide now in our democratic system about the framework which role this technology will get. And if you ask which role will we play as organic community, is decided in the next years. If we present society, policymakers, and entrepreneurs an alternative pathway that we say no, programming life like a computer software is not a solution for the way of living of tomorrow. One example. Second example is how we produce food. A lot of discussions, what I observe, what I have with policymakers, scientists, and especially people from the financial industry say the way of producing food of tomorrow is not from fields, is not from bakeries or butchers, it's from food reactors, it's from bioreactors. So even if I had just a discussion a couple of days ago with one of our famous climate scientists from the Potsdam Institute of Climate Science, and he says the most efficient way to produce proteins, nutrients, is a reactor. So you can exactly produce the food you need without killing animals and without polluting the environment. I'm just asking where does all the nutrients for the disruptors come from, and in which systems will we live, and what about all these factors you ask for common good? What is the sense of economy Christian Felber presents? I ask all these questions in the mind of this climate scientist, which is a really brilliant mind. All this dimensions wasn't present because the models are very narrow. So if you ask where we are in 20 or 30 years and which is the role of organic, again, it's about the decisions of today and the next years. If we are able to present an alternative to such a narrow dogmatic way how to make science, even science to protect our climate or to adapt to the climate change, so that we introduce another way of thinking. What is food production? Food production is not for itself. Nutrients are not for itself. It's for a higher sense of living from the humans together with all creatures of this planet. And so my answer is very much an answer of today, not what will come in the future. We have now to influence what will be our role. And these two examples may show you what we can do by acting very clear, very loud, that the future of food and farming, at least in Europe, is in balance with nature, reaching the planetary boundaries and not following narrow, dogmatic, technology-driven science. Thank you.